All right, we're here, everybody. Rant is back, episode 2. Been looking forward to it all week. And I think you can expect the unexpected every time we get into one of these. It's probably going to be quite a grab bag. Last week was hilarious, and we learned about Mooncat and Sundog, and people told me all week about their Mooncat Sundog experiences. But what's up to everybody in the chat? We got Lehman Dollins, Gordon Hamill, Common Sense Cult, that's Nick, and Alan Marcus. And then over on the Rokfin stream, Justin and Snake. Good to see everybody. And as we let people trickle in, I'll just kind of remind everyone of the situation here. Rant is my do whatever I want show that is not held to the same standard of format as the regular main show InnerVerse, which is not going away. I think it will probably end up going places we could have never imagined in a more planned out type of show, especially with call-ins being a thing. So I'm going to link in the chats in a few moments after I get Kaylee talking so that I can do it at the same time. I'm going to link the new Telegram group that I just formed, which is for people to be able to leave voicemails or get the link to call in for dialogue later in the show when we get to that point. And since I already had a question in the chat right here, it's a huge question. We're just going to start there. Chance, I caught the second time you sat in with the Weaving Spiders crew. Magical, just the right mix. Question, if I can buy just 2 books this month, would you go with 2 from Sabak or Tessarion? I would say that's an impossible question. It depends on what you're looking for. If you get the Sabak books, that's not really a month of reading. I have no idea how long it's going to take me to get through those, but I just got Holographic Culture and Murder of Reality. Seems like it'll probably be crucial reading. I'd also throw in the mix Spirit World by Dylan Sicoccio as a good recommendation. Maybe a little bit easier to digest and quicker with very relevant target information about how things are going in the world with the sorcerer class manipulating society. And Tessarion. So Tessarion, you've got hardcore psychological self-knowledge, and the question is which books to go with. I personally recommend you pick up Disciples of the Mysterium to learn about how to find yourself again after being lost in other people's ideas about ideas, the way that most of us kind of start out or maybe still are. So, man, my answer to your question is, I don't know, flip a coin. Maybe if you really want, I can use my I'll use like dowsing rods and do a yes or no and see what my body electricity thinks you should do. I don't know. If that answer wasn't good enough, I wish you luck. Sabak's books do cost more to get. You have to get physical copies, but they're like an artifact about the alien artifact encoded in our language. But Tessarion's books can help you free your mind in all kinds of other ways. So good luck with that. I hope you get a lot more books than just one from any of those guys. But let's go ahead and introduce Kaylee. She's going to be hanging out with me tonight, also known as Canadian Eagle in the chat. I'll unmute you now. How's it going?
Hey, stoked to be here. Thanks for inviting me back. And yeah, I'm glad that my device and internet are hopefully going to work out, and I need to knock on wood. I would like to know where that superstition came from. Knock on wood, actually.
Well, we got a lot of super sleuths in the chat. Someone will probably tell us now that you posed the question. You don't even have to Google it.
Right?
Oh, let's talk about that. You're going to come on and join us, me and Rachel, for that episode a few weeks back on runes and divination. And Odin didn't see fit to allow for that connection.
Nope.
So we might continue some of that here. A little bit if you had thoughts you wanted to share on that. I mean, really, like I said, anything goes here.
I did, yeah, and I'm just looking around for my rune set right now because I wanted to pull one for the show just for fun. And it's not in front of me, so that's weird, but
you could always just hop up and take a break while I hold it down. But hey, so tell us a little bit about who you are, what your life is like, whatever you feel like sharing on that front.
Yeah, I guess most of your audience doesn't really know me, hey? Yeah.
Just our super tight-knit telefam in which you're a star cast member.
We have the best telefam group. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, so my name's Kaylee. Hello. I live in Canada, Canadian Eagle, duh. And yeah, I turned 30 this year. It's kind of blowing my mind. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I'd make it to 24, but here we are, still going. Yeah, I have been on quite the life journey, you could say. How did I even find your work? Let me see. Hold on. Let me recount. Let me recount this quickly. So, how did I find Chance? I found Michael Sarian's work after coming across a different podcaster, actually David Whitehead. And I found David Whitehead because he did an interview with Bernard Gunther. So it's been kind of an interesting kind of like to get to this point. But at some point during 2020, at the beginning of 2020, I was very much sold on most of the narrative. I was still one of those people that was very much asleep, I guess you would
Man,
say.
quick red pilling to get to where you're at now.
Holy fuck.
I've been trying to sort things
Right?
out since like 2011.
Yeah. I mean, I first learned about like the birth certificate fraud in 2015. And I learned a few different things like about like 9/11 and stuff around 2015. But then other life events occurred that essentially set me on, I guess, my shamanic journey, really, my a descent, a dark night of the soul kind of thing. And I went through quite a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. And then 2020 hit, and it was like, wait a minute, why am I being guilted and shamed for stuff? Hold on a minute, that's an abusive pattern. Wait a minute. And then it was like, bam, and here we are. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and I'm glad I'm here, and yeah, I'm stoked to have this conversation. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it already. This just feels so good to be doing a weekly live show that I can rely on. Sometimes I would do InnerVerse live, but I just want to hang out with the people more. It's like mad isolation vibes for so many of us right now, myself included. I kid you not. You might think that I'm a super outgoing, extroverted seeming guy, but in meet space, my routine is super tight and does not involve meeting new people except if our dogs cross paths at the park, which does happen, but usually we only exchange dog names, not human names.
Isn't that funny?
So it is like, that's what, it's not too personal if we just tell the dog name to each other. But if I tell you my name, then I might stand here for 5 more minutes talking to you, and I got places to be. And also maybe we have social anxiety. But we Nick says the social isolation is why he started his show. And that's really good. And even InnerVerse started that way to a degree for me, because I wanted to have deep conversations, and it's hard to get 2 hours in with somebody and, talk about the things you actually want to talk about. That's tricky.
Yeah, I feel like there's a big measure of like, you have to have a bit of be comfortable with vulnerability to broach a lot of these subjects with people in person. So I don't know, I feel like it's easier to talk about some of the deeper, crazier stuff with people online that are already in communities that you already know that they're not going to think you're a tinfoil hat wearing motherfucker, although tinfoil actually works. It just can't be touching your body and has to be grounded, but that's not the point. So
I got silver lined hats for that.
Right. Yes, exactly.
From the man,
exactly.
Matt Landman. Spiro Protection Clothing. I'm not even kidding. Look that up. SPERO Protection Clothing, EMF line. Cover your babies in silver threaded blankets and put hoodies on your pregnant wife and protect your junk with special silver underwear, all the above. Yeah, I mean, the frequency war is huge. And you mentioned a minute ago you were catching up on Tessarion. That might have been off the air that you were talking about the psychic vampirism stuff on Tessarion's unslave.com. And I did an episode with them on that. You might recall the anecdote I told about getting juiced at the park by a lady that worked at the hospital.
I remember the day that happened because you talked about it in the telegroup.
Yeah, I may have done a little venting there. Actually, hopefully I just provided it as an example of how the dynamic works, and the whole vampire maneuver. It's a really consistent thing. Anyway, I saw that crazy person at the park again today. She just gives me this creepy smile from a distance, and I'm just like, I'm not even returning that gaze. And as soon as I noticed, I was just putting up like the purple blue electric aura shield and just like, you can't even dart me, yo. And I forgot about her in 5 seconds, but
nice.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to talk about since you were just researching that? Is that an interesting subject matter for us to get into?
It's a heavy
segue
subject
to something
matter.
else I want to talk about.
Yeah. No, it's a great subject matter. Oh man, with Syrian's work, I constantly feel like I'm playing catch up because there's just so much and it's so deep, and they're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 hour videos. So, but yeah, the psychic vampirism stuff is definitely an area of interest. I mean, the biggest thing that sent me on my personal descent was narcissistic psychopathic abuse. So I'm really familiar with this subject. It was really, actually really, what's the word I'd use to describe? Not comforting, but encouraging to hear Sarion's and David Whitehead and your take on this particular subject matter.
So, you're not imagining it, and that it's more than just verbal psychological dynamics, but there's actually a bioelectric dynamic going on, and even an infection that makes the victim identify with the perpetrator, and the cycle just goes on.
Yeah, and in your episode specifically, I thought it was really cool you brought up the aura photography. I didn't know that. I've never heard of that before. So I would like a link to some of that research or information. Just you can drop me a link to that.
I can pull it up in a Kindle book and show some of those pictures, but actually it's kind of an elusive. I don't know if anyone else other than Joe Slate, the author of the book Psychic Vampirism, there's a subtitle to that, but that's the main title, that I got some of the information from and, supplanted my real life experience.
Yeah.
So I can screen share a little bit of that imagery. Give me a second.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, while you pull it up, I'll just say like, there are other authors that talk about psychic self-defense that do mention like different substances and practices and stuff that put holes in your auric field. So that's not the first time I've heard that. I don't have any memories of any like physical pains when coming into contact with these kinds of people, but I'm sure that does happen, and those were some really interesting anecdotes as well that you guys talked about, how one of those types of people could touch you and then you feel a dart or a nail in that spot. I think that's not crazy. I was going to say I think it's crazy, but it's not crazy at all.
I'll tell that anecdote here since it was on the paywall Unslaved show. Yeah. No, it's fine. Like we can talk about anything from there. It's just that a lot of people might not have heard it because they don't want to kick $6 to a website they're not already invested in. Although that 6 months is 6 months, $6 a month, real worth it. It might have gone up actually. I just had some crazy stuff happen with PayPal taking away their system. But I found some of the aura photography here.
Cool.
And I got to actually set up the screen share for this to work. So hold on.
But yes, like psychic vampirism is a really serious thing, and a really good point that you guys made on that show that I think is important to note is it's not about going around saying that person's a vampire, that person's a vampire, that person's evil, that person's a psychopath, because we can fall into that trap really easily. There's definitely like a spectrum of like how intense that experience or that malady or that sickness can be. So I think that's important to note too.
Yeah, I mean, and to
But yeah,
a degree, it's a survival mechanism for people who have faults in their energetic system itself. Like you're not,
totally.
you wouldn't believe all the ways that you're doing it to other people once you start to learn about how it actually works. So, okay,
Oh
these
yeah.
pictures, let me explain. On the left, this is Aura photography. He actually, Joe Slate says that in his Curlian photography studies that you could take a picture of someone's entire body or just their fingerprint of their index finger, and you actually get like a fractal miniature of what the whole body kind of looks like by doing just the fingertip. So it makes it an easier way to take the photos in mass, I guess. And on the left here, we have an expansive aura, what someone's aura looks like that's in flow, vibing, not psychologically compartmentalized, not internally toxic. And then on the right, you see a constrictive aura. And probably most of us are wobbling between these states at different points. I think that the left hand picture really symbolizes what it's like to be rooted in your chest, like solar plexus forward type of consciousness, not necessarily heart centered. This is something that I like to make a point on, that the new age will tell you you got to live from your heart, which kind of makes sense because it's in the middle. And a lot of occult teachers say that too. And I'm not saying don't be balanced in your heart on an emotional level, like that you don't feel it, but actually in 3D, when you're doing stuff, it's really helpful to just be one lower to the solar plexus because it's kind of a more objective place to live. The heart has a lot of flavors of emotion. This is a very pendulum type deal. So if it's the full on ruler of all your actions, maybe that's not as conducive to you acting out your creative will in the world. This is just a thought. But on the right is the constrictive aura, right? So that's a lot less light happening. And we go all the way down to here, the vampire shadow. This is an aura of a self-proclaimed energy vampire. And if you look closely, the background is a certain shade of black. It's probably pretty hard to see. And in the middle, where the aura would be, there's a darker black than even the background. And this is consistent in the further photos in this book. And the point is, this is something we got into Weaving Spiders Welcome, got into on there, is that this is a type of emotional plague that's infecting humanity. The whole, in my opinion, the whole concept of like demonic attachment and entities from the holographic fractal realm, it is a type of anti-life, anti-electricity, almost like artificial viral darkness that people have in their field that is causing blockages, gunk, corruption, and their bioelectricity isn't flowing correctly. And then that leads to further vampire-like behavior for them. And one of the things that this does is it's a numbing out. So especially when you're deep in vampiric relationships, and a lot of times with like partners, romantic partners, it's often not one is the vamp and the other's the victim. They're like doing it to each other consistently, and they're both victim and perpetrator together. Maybe it started with one being the more domineering one, but it usually has that type of a flow. And so, like I said, we don't want to like vilify everybody who's into any types of manipulative behavior because it's human nature until humans learn otherwise, right? But this darker than black darkness is a very interesting thing that it might be this jinn phenomenon showing on this part of the monochord, this particular zooming in. I'm not sure, but we'll have to, we're going to leave that topic open. I mean, Kaylee, I'm definitely open to your thoughts to continue on it, but we won't exhaust this subject today. I'm kind of going to tangent in a little bit into the more some relationship dynamics that I was confronting today, or people are asking me about today, I guess is a better way of putting it. I wasn't myself confronting it. So yeah, psychic vampirism.
It's a thing. It's real. Yeah, I saw Alan in the chat, right? Post a couple of titles of books for psychic self-defense. That's pretty awesome. Those are great resources. yeah, this mind virus, I've heard it called by Paul Levy, I think his name is. He references a Native American word with Tico, mind virus. But yeah, I think it's pretty crazy that it shows up
You want to
physically
see?
like that in a photograph. That's wild.
So here's something else that's really crazy. I didn't bring this up with Tessarion, but there's also, you've heard of like the third man effect or a guardian angel. Someone's in a life-threatening situation and a type of maybe spiritual being shows up and helps them out that seems to have physicality, like pulls them out from in front of the bus or whatever, and then they get their wits back and their savior is just gone, pulls them out of a car wreck before the fire trucks arrive. You've heard of this type of thing?
I've heard of this.
It's a pretty consistent phenomenon that people report. Anyway, there have been this guy, Joe Slate, he was really thorough for years, and he actually got in touch with people, had so many people he was in touch with that some of them actually had experiences like that and knew him and immediately called him up. And so this is an aura photo of somebody who just had a dangerous period or something really complex happen. And there's this like infusion of these super bright, light, dendrite looking, attachments to their field. And I wonder if this is the good guy energy, the source energy coming and infusing the individual with like a needed boost. Like, the gardener came and poured some water on the dying zucchini plant, something like that. I don't know. Does that make sense? But I hadn't showed these photos before. And this is a whole other side of the dynamic that's really weird. The luminous cluster phenomenon.
That's cool. Wow. That's really cool, actually.
Wonder what the chat will think of that.
I don't have anything else to say other than that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's curious. It's just curious. Just curious things that people have researched and found out. Like,
man.
Turn off the phone there. So, anyway, where do I want to go from here? I got some other things to rant about.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
So everyone knows we'll probably start taking call-ins at about the hour mark, if that's cool with everyone. I've got one voicemail in there already, which is pretty sweet. And I had a topic in mind. It's kind of related to psychic vampirism in the relationship sense. And this is twin flames. I wanted to get into this because in my short run on the dimension that I've been here, I've actually seen a pattern that it only clicked last year or the year before that this was a time of year for it or whatever, a sky clock thing. But entering into September and lasting into October, in my opinion, I have observed an uptick in the amount of people I know at that time of year who get into intense, highly attached relationships with people that they just met. And many of them describe this as a twin flame. And there's a lot of things we could say about this, but I want to kind of criticize the concept. And there's a lot of ways to go with that. But before I get there, I'll kick it back to you and see, let's get your thoughts on this concept of, your destined, chosen soulmate partner. She's cracking her knuckles. She's about to throw down, cast down the false dogmas.
Yeah. So, twin flame, it is an interesting concept. The idea that there's like this polar opposite of you somewhere out there that you're meant to grow and expand with or because of. It's definitely an interesting and highly romanticized concept. I think it's also been, even if it does exist, if it is real, it's been hijacked completely by the New Age movement and by people that prey on that dynamic. Not every, but almost every time.
Like New Age teachers that tell you what you want to hear.
Yes, 100%. And yes, crazy fox. thank you for bringing up those people, because those are some of the people that have helped me break out of that, because I fell into that trap myself, actually. Really, what I discovered about myself through that was actually that it's really easy for different things that have addictive patterns to get hooked in, or for me to get hooked into, rather. And that kind of dynamic, what they describe as the twin flame dynamic, is super addictive, and honestly sounds more like narcissistic abuse than anything that's actually healthy. Yeah, so I think that is a lot of it. Is actually people wanting it to be something mystical and magical, and it's actually just
Trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding. Yes, trauma bonding. And there could be some other influences that are outside of our physical awareness that could be hooking into that as well. So I mean, it's definitely something that I now tread very, very lightly around, and I don't want. One of the biggest
Okay, this is
hallmarks.
personal, so
One of the biggest
you can hold
hallmarks.
back. But like, have you personally
it is
experienced the twin flame phenomenon in terms of like you and someone else thinking that was what was going on? Just curious, because I've been there. It's happened to me 3 times, I think, and the third time was when I was like, oh, pattern.
Good old
I'm
pattern
slow on the
recognition.
uptake.
Yes, I did experience that very strongly with one person, and it was after I had escaped an actually seriously abusive relationship. This other person came in, and I can safely say now that it wasn't a twin flame dynamic, but while in that moment, that's what I did think it was. Yeah.
And so that might be
We'll leave it
because
there.
perhaps maybe there was a lot of synchronicity involved in the meeting, perhaps.
It was a highly significant. I wasn't paying attention to synchronicity when we met. But like I really believe that there was like some soulmate aspects to that meeting, because they played such a significant role in my life at the time.
That's a good point. It's not that the person is like run away from them with the, screaming if this comes up. You're my twin flame. Ah! Get away from me. Have a chair. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. But it's definitely something to be cautious of, especially if you're someone like me that has struggled with addiction. It can be a highly intoxicating idea. And anytime you put that much focus on one person, I think that that's when the psychic vampirism is really like kicking off and working through both of you. So
yeah, codependency in the negative sense really is
100%.
a vampiric feedback loop type of jam.
Totally.
And
totally.
especially if you're just recently met the person, to put that on them that like you're the one, and what you're in love with is the idea of the one at that point.
Yes.
I mean, you might like their energy and their vibe and how they look, and
and
might make you laugh, and all those things aren't good, but it takes a while to know somebody. Go ahead.
Totally. And positive projections too, right? Like you're projecting onto them everything that you actually are, and idealizing them and putting them on a pedestal, when really those things are present in you, and you need to take those projections back, because they won't live up to that ideal, and that nobody can. And when they don't, you will get hurt. So taking those positive projections back has been a big practice of mine in general. Like now I look for that. Now I'm like, okay, Chance is a really cool dude. He's got all this stuff going for him. He's so artistic, blah blah blah. He's so confident on camera and stuff. Okay, what about that? Am I seeing that is actually true for me too? Like, so it's just a small example, but yeah, those projections can be huge.
That's right. All the amazing qualities you observe in me, you have them yourself.
Exactly.
Some really
Maybe
intelligent
but...
things in the chat too. Crazy Fox talking about that it may be a bit overboard to blame the twin flame phenomenon on aliens. And she questions, I think Crazy Fox is a she. My bad if you're not. I hope that I'm not wrong about that. I don't know why I think that. But he or she says, what are aliens really other than parts of self that we aren't familiar with? Alien to us. Just how I see it. And then Matoksheli? Anima and Animus was the comment. Yeah, which is brilliant. I'm actually totally planning to go there in both of those directions that the commenters have stated.
That's awesome.
So I already posted
audience.
it in me too. It's why I'm doing Vibrant, so I can hang out with the audience now that I know them. So much cooler than talking into a microphone alone and hoping a few people watch it. Like that's what I was doing for years. But yeah, there's a call-in line reminder, Vibrant call-in line. I'll drop it in the chat again. It is a Telegram group where you can leave a voicemail or snag the link to this StreamYard call that Kaylee and I are speaking to. It'll put you in my menu down here. I can pull you in whenever. And in a little while, I'm definitely going to try to encourage somebody to jump in here live. I do have a voicemail from Alan to play.
Nice.
Okay, so let's dig in deeper, though. First of all, go ahead.
Before we go into that, actually, I wanted to mention
I got a lot more on twin flames for sure. Oh, runes.
Nice. Yes, I wanted to mention a rune. One in particular. I did a reading on so I do weekly rune readings, and I try to do weekly tarot readings as well. But I did one on Monday, and one of the third rune that came out, because I do a 3-rune spread, the third rune that came out was Gebo. And Gebo is 2 lines crossed in an X like this. It's number 7. And it's the gift, the exchange, hospitality. And it speaks of how it's a structure. There's 1, there's 2, they cross and it creates a third, right? So it's all about if you can give, or maybe you'll receive something, right? There's this exchange idea. But the inverse of that, when it's murky, it's a warning that there could be some kind of enslavement occurring because maybe you're giving too much or accepting too much, and they're going to demand that back from you, or something in along there. And it was interesting that this came up for me on Monday for my public reading, just because it's the topic that just seemed to pop up all week, was this idea of exchange and whether it was actually a healthy exchange or not. So that's just the tie-in, and that's been going through my mind all day, is just thinking about Gebo, the exchange, and then how it played into this particular topic. So just thought that was neat and wanted to mention that.
Reminds me of the Marrying Maiden, or hexagram 54 in the I Ching, Kui Mei, I guess is how you say it in Chinese. Could be wrong on that pronunciation. Which is the arousing thunder energy, upper trigram, lower trigram, the joyous lake. And yeah, that's where basically the energy there is like you're using your life force energy to try to dominate and commandeer all the multiplicity of life around you. It's kind of like if you were to flip that, I don't remember which hexagram number that is or what it's called off the top of my head, but if you flip that dynamic, I'm sure it would be quite a bit different, using your life force energy to serve all the multiplicity of life rather than take from it.
Nice.
And yeah, so let's get back into this twin flame thing. Let me bring this off screen. I pulled that rune up. The wholeness concept, I think, is where you really want to always root your perspective on a concept. So if you've got your twin flame in mind, someone you're like, man, I believe maybe they really are it. They're the one meant for me. They're my opposite out there. They're like, my soul was split in half and we incarnated in two different bodies. Who knows?
They're
Maybe
a
that
perfect
even
mirror.
perfect mirror. It's not a wholeness mentality, because how can your opposite be out there if you're already everything? Where's that? How's that work? You know, I think that overall it is basically like a trap, twin flame trap, you could call it. But it's you tricking yourself. That's like the real fun of it. It might not be them. They're not like necessarily trying to trick you. They're definitely the perfect mirror, because they're doing the same thing by painting you in that same light. It's a trap mindset. So I'll go through a few reasons. It's conceptual. It's not actual. It is purely a belief in a destined relationship, and it is a first step to self-sabotage, because it brings the process about of painting an imaginary rule in your life that is now on your world. And that imaginary rule is, this is the one for me, and it must work out because it's meant to be, and I have to. As that goes on, it might seem really easy to make that worldview filter like harmonize with your experience at first, but there is a honeymoon period in any relationship that does start to wear off, and you both get into your ugly habits if you're not actively working on that independently. Now, this being said, you could go into a twin flame belief relationship and it might not end in tears or even a breakup. You might even stay with them, but hopefully at some point you figure out that it's compromising to have them on this pedestal, and likely to develop into unhealthy codependence or comfort zones, because since it's meant to be, the warning signs can be ignored about what isn't right and what's off. And in this animus conceptualization, the best way to explain that would be that every masculine energy in the world has an inner feminine spirit that's part of it. We both contain both halves, right? And vice versa. The animus is the masculine spirit or soul, anima, feminine. And when you get the holographic nature of reality, the all is self nature of reality, you start to see that all of the, like if you're a guy, all the women in your life are a direct embodiment of some belief that you have about the divine feminine. You might not ever realize you had a belief about the divine feminine, but it is like that. And it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because your mother is the first example of that, and you don't really have much of individuated self through which that you're creating an animus or an anima out of a parent. But still, it is a reflection, because that they become the largest bearing on what your belief about the divine feminine or the divine masculine is. Mm-hmm. So the beauty of love is in free will. The best relationship is the one that you choose over and over again. And if your twin flame relationship is going to make it, you got to realize that at first it feels like the twin flame thing is already your choice. And it is in that moment, I'm sure. But over time, if you keep going deeper into compromising yourself, your personal development, for the sake of spending as much time with them as possible, both of you might click because, you like the same Netflix shows. Well, how many Netflix shows do we need before we've seen enough? I'm talking for myself here. When have we been entertained enough? Been reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and that Stoic perspective will really make you consider, like, how much stuff do I do that's totally unnecessary and I won't enjoy when I watch the movie of my life later in the the rap room. So the other thing here is that sometimes people will present the twin flame idea to a romantic partner as a way to get a grip on them. Sometimes it's innocent, a misguided belief, and they really believe it. But the worst case scenario, it even goes further, which is high level entities orchestrating a long game con to keep you off your synchronicity path. And I know that sounds like I'm getting away from all is self as a mentality, but we just looked at where this entity energy lives in our field, and that manifests in the external world as internalized energy in your field, and you've separated it from yourself. Well, now it's going to come in as a separate thing in your life that does feel separate and other and out of your control. And that's like, in the simplest terms, the archetypes that you have left in the dust and forgotten, left to rot, they will return to you in a form necessary to serve your imperial self, but that might require kicking your ass.
Right. That's
so that
why
you can see that archetype again.
That's why I'm so torn on the concept. Because it's a huge teaching tool, and like that, what you said about like the relationships of the opposite sex that you have in your life mirroring exactly your beliefs about them is so huge. Like when I realized that I was attracted to men that mirrored my father, oh god, fuck, that's the worst. But it is a huge learning thing. It is a huge learning thing.
Ryan says twin flames are there to show you your shadow. That's a pretty good description. So yeah, I mean, not that it doesn't exist. We do get these. Okay, here's another important part of the dynamic. How do you even draw a twin flame type energy to yourself? And why would the shadow come at you that hard in such a sticky way? In my experience, and what I've even seen with others, is the most likely time for one of these things to pop up in their life is when they've hit a groove. You're in a flow state consistently. You're really on top of your shit. You're doing your thing. You're expressing yourself. You know, obviously you're single. Otherwise a relationship coming in is probably not, or maybe you're two-timing, but you know what I mean? Like these things, these partners that feel so super attractive like that often right when you are in the zone. And this is like self-testing stuff. Like, hey, we see that you're in the flow state now. That means all this stuff that was stagnant and stuck in here is now coming out to the surface, and here you go. And it's your choice point moment. Do you revert to identifying with the shadow and externalizing it and keeping it there instead of working on it in the form of the friction that will continually build in the relationship over time? Or do you recognize why you got to the point of meeting someone really exciting in the first place, which was that you were in flow, and try to stay in flow and try to stay on your thing, you know, whatever it is for you. Does that make sense?
It does. And there's something that Crazy Fox mentioned in the chat that's really important that I also think we should talk about, that when there's I said it in one of the chat groups the other day, where actually I think it was your main one, where there's a lot of talk of like entity attachment and entity removal and that kind of stuff in certain circles, and they completely ignore the fact that there's only an entry point where there's a wound, and oftentimes these kinds of relationships highlight that wound.
It's actually good. It's for your benefit that this comes to you, but it's like,
if you choose to deal with it, right? Yes. Exactly. If we choose to actually work through it. But I think that's what you're trying to say about the positive side of it. If you meet someone that's really awesome that could actually be like meant for you, then you do need to stay in that flow state and keep working on what makes you so awesome, because that's what they're attracted to, right? And that's
so look at it like
what's actually important for you, right?
You get to be choosy, and most of these reflections are coming your way so that you can do the right thing for you and thereby help dissolve their programming in the fractal sense. Not like you're fixing them, but you're sure not giving them permission to play out that shadow program by, you know, cautiously, almost like selfishly in a positive sense, holding back and not like going straight into the belief of, here's a perfect example. Okay. Back to the I Ching. The hexagram I got whenever I was like, I Ching, tell me about twin flames.
Nice.
It totally did. It gave me hexagram 64, the final one, which is symbolic for sure. Not yet a cross or before completion, depending on the translation. There's a little poem that goes with this on one of the websites that I sometimes go to look at I Ching stuff. And it goes, not yet across, progressing little. The fox, being nearly across, gets his tail wet. This lacks a beneficial purpose.
Ooh. Oh,
So
shit.
I think, yeah. I know, it's just like, boom, right on the nose. Nice one, I Ching. So my take on that, I want yours too, it would just be like, you're not there yet. This thing's coming at you as like a test to see if you're going to go all the way to fully embodying selfhood and staying there, or if you're going to go back into like the sort of spiral back into the same place with a different person.
100%. That's really funny actually that you say that, because like there's personally, as far as relationships go, there's a very prominent pattern. And I feel like when I meet someone new that sort of fits this pattern or slightly fits this pattern, it's like the universe, or I guess myself or whatever, is sending this back at me to see, like, are you ready? Do you recognize the pattern yet? Have you figured it out yet? So I see that play out literally in my own life. So that's interesting. I don't know, I think that's kind of funny that the I Ching called it out like that.
Yeah, and I'm in this metaphor poem, I'm imagining the fox is actually walking across a frozen lake as well.
Ooh.
So like, you need to get across there. You're gonna fall in. Because my deck, for my I Ching deck that I have that's got cool artwork, has a picture of a child crossing a frozen lake that has fracturing dendrite looking fracture lines underneath it. Yeah. And you know what? The other side of it is the synchronicity thing. Synchronicities can really speed up for people obviously, because they're in flow. And so then when that starts happening with them and another person that they're attracted to, it's kind of misattributed to mean that, like, they're the one and this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But I think that the compartmentalized energy within us, the archetypes that the fallen archetypes within us, in terms of ones that we haven't rectified and integrated properly into our identity yet, well, they are tricksters. They are going to trip you up. That's like, in my opinion, that's a lot of what, if all life and all energy and consciousness is one thing, then I think a whole myriad of phenomenon that we see and experience in the external world, from aliens to synchronistic pathways that just open up before us, are totally related to our bioenergy and how that feedback loop circuitry is flowing or is blocked and where.
That would be a really interesting analysis. So I started keeping a synchronicity journal partway through 2020, actually, just because things started happening a lot. And I just started writing, like, what time I noticed whatever it was at, whether it was an animal crossing my path, a number, somebody saying something that I was thinking about, like literally anything. And my Telegram name with the 1221 was showing up all of the fucking time, leading up to December 12th. Or yeah, no, December 21st, sorry, 1221, yeah. It's continued, that particular number pattern. But anyway, so I started writing it down, and then what I was feeling at the time, like in my body, what I was thinking about. An ear ringing was happening a lot too. Was it the right ear? Was it left ear? That kind of stuff. Yeah, Gordon, keep it a sync journal. I think it's super interesting to go back. And also dreams. I was writing down dreams too, and the symbolism in dreams that was coming up. Where was I going with this? Trickster archetype.
Well, Crazy Fox says synchronicities happen all the time. The more you look, the more you'll see, which is why the journal is helpful. Actually, I got a journal just for synchronicities that occur while I'm reading these giant Pierre Sabak books I just got. These are
Great.
chunky books, dude. Oh my God. Charts and imagery, super into it. But I want to address that comment because he's right. Even when you're leaky, you'll get synchronicity. But I think that the flow state brings synchronicities that are more opportunity and excitement in an obvious sense. Like, you know, little synchronicities are constantly there, but the flow state is about your integrating properly, and energy is consciousness and light, and you're putting off more light. That is your self light, which means you will attract a like light and you'll be more apt to notice it because your flashlight's on, you know. So they're always there, but the flow state doesn't, it may be increases them because you're moving more, so you encounter more in the stream, but they are always there, and they're always hints and clues. Even when we're like out of sync, they'll still be like, you know, jumping out at you, reminding you, hey, stop doing that, and things will get, usually it's one of those.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, for an example, maybe you're like drinking a Pepsi, and then you happen to, right then someone calls you and starts telling you about an article they read about aborted baby fetus parts in Pepsi.
Oh, Jesus.
It didn't happen to me, but I quit Pepsi long ago.
Oh my God. I'm curious. I want to pull
It's a
up an
cool looking
example.
journal.
Right. Okay. So I do leather work as well. And yeah, I literally I grabbed a regular notepad and made a cover for it out of scraps that I had, literally. I want to pull up an example just because, let's see. Oh, this was an interesting one that happened this summer, actually. So July 14th, animal omen, 3:10 p.m. Hot as fuck outside. Burning bushes, cutting dead wood. A honeybee flies into and gets stuck in my bun. So I hear this angry buzzing sound, and he's stuck, and I had to like let my hair out to get the bee out, and it didn't sting me. So I was like, okay, that's really interesting. What do bees stand for? Bees are hard workers. They are constantly busy. There's a sweet nectar at the end of the hard work, but it's also an Illuminati symbol. And so like, this is where my brain's going now. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck? So that like, what was significant about that happened? Well, I was interrupted by some other workers. So is somebody interrupting me and fucking with my flow? And is that what the honeybee is telling me by getting stuck? I don't know. Also, it kind of felt like it was like a lucky break. Like I didn't get stung. So does that symbolize having a lucky break from something that tries to pull me off of my path, like a queen's agent? Like, like sometimes I could get like really deep and crazy and paranoid with it. Sometimes I keep it more light. But yeah, there's a whole bunch more here that I wrote, but
See, it's a sync that you pulled out a journal, because like I got some notebooks to start specifically finally being more consistent with journaling today. Speaking of consistency in daily practice, this is something I meant to announce at the beginning, but today's September 1, and I have started a contest of sorts. It's kind of a loosely a contest. Imagine I'm just gonna, everyone that participates to a large degree will be a winner. But it's everyone gets a trophy. You're all special.
No one left behind.
Unless you don't participate enough for my liking, and I'm the judge and arbiter of that. Okay, so it's the September Art Party, yet another Telegram group that is a smaller group. Right now we got about 15 in there, 14. And the goal is that we're all in this Telegram channel to hold each other accountable to our challenge of producing art this month and doing something creative that is kind of mostly pointless. I mean, if you like made a painting and you sold it later down the line, I don't care. But I'd rather that it wasn't your job. if you're already an artist for a job, that's awesome. And you're not discriminated against, come in and share that all day. Like, that's inspiring that you're already doing it for a living. Super. But anyway, the point is, like, to initiate a daily right brain communication practice, left brain, right brain balancing practice of creativity, even minimum that I laid down in its honor system is to work on painting or drawing or making music or something like that, half an hour a day, all through the month if you can. And, you know, you'll be amazed at what kind of, this is why I'm good at this. What reminded me of this is the bee thing. One of the symbols the bees got going on is the hexagonal containers.
Yeah.
And bees know how to make a container for their creative energy that they put into the external. They know, and that is a big secret to expressing yourself and staying in flow, is to have a container for your creative energy, that so it's, your spiritual currency isn't just scattered across the four winds and mostly directed at TV or something like that and going nowhere, or actually it's going somewhere. It's just you're not keeping it. You're actually paying. You're paying it. You're paying them.
Or obsessing over another person that you think might be a twin flame.
Yeah, you know, chill on that. If they do art, then maybe they really are the one.
Yes.
If you do art together, it's a great sign, in my opinion. If like that's how you hang out, totally good sign.
Yes.
But Alan says, love goddesses, gifts of milk and honey. So yeah, the bee knows how to make a container for their creative energy, and that's an investment that comes back to you later in the winter time, metaphorically, when you need it. So join that channel. I'll link it in the chat.
Totally. Artwork is great. What's kind of crazy about the decision to pick that one to read out loud is I just turned the page and was looking at what else I wrote, and I was listening to a podcast, actually a Michael Sarian podcast. I think it was Michael Sarian about it was in the Gnostic series, and it was specifically a part about demonic influence. And then the bee did what it did, and then I looked at my phone and I had a message from someone that that I have felt a very strong attachment to. So weird. I didn't realize that was the significance of that particular encounter until I just turned the page just now. So that's interesting that that's what came up. So yes. Anyway, carrying on. Art party. Oh, did I cut out there?
It was me. I muted myself on the browser and on my mixer. And I only unmuted myself on the mixer. My bad. Amateur hour here. So yeah, if you join the Art Party Telegram and you participate more days than you don't, I'm going to send some prints to people, like of my own art. Maybe I'll throw Crystal in there. But there will be nifty gifties for people who play this game. And I hope that many of you join and share your doodles. Even if it's like, I'll even take coloring in a coloring book, people.
That counts.
It totally counts. So now I feel like telling an anecdote that I haven't told on my own show before, that was on that Tessarion podcast, and then I'm going to bring C3 Nick into the chat here, who's called in through our Telegram group. So hold tight, buddy. I'm going to bring you in just a minute. I have had, like I said, twin flame experiences myself, in at least the sense that I believed in it. And I've had all three scenarios. Scenario one being a manipulator. Scenario two being, let's see, how did I organize this? One of the scenario two, I think, would be like you just you're forcing it because you believe it, and maybe they're really good for you still. But scenario three would be like maybe you're being led on a garden path by some other not so helpful external energy. Anyway, in the terms of an actual psychic vampire manipulating me with the twin flame belief, that happened to me the first time anyone ever said the word to me. And I was kind of early in my awakening path. And a long story short, not that long of a story, because I figured out her game in a couple of weeks. It didn't take long at all.
Nice.
But at one point I had bought this chick a ticket to, ironically, a Bass Nectar concert. Massive psychic vampire right there.
It was a sign.
That's a sign. And there's the last Bass Nectar show I ever went to. But I bought her a ticket to it, and then we stopped talking. And for several months, I hadn't spoken to her, but like I could tell that this was like a sorcerer level psychic vampire, maybe not trained by a secret society, but definitely abused by, in my opinion, satanic ritual abuse type people. I could be wrong. This is a guess, but I think, you know, some of the hardcore practicing energy vampires were trained by parents and by organizations that did that to them when they were kids, hardcore, you know. Anyway, I had nothing to do with her for a long time, but she kept popping up on my radar as if she was somehow still in my energy field. You know what I mean? And it was always like in not good ways. So one night I sat down and I decided I wanted to do a ritual ceremonial severing of my energy from hers, which I had not tried. And I was like pretty new to my energy work. And I did that. It took a couple minutes. And as soon as I finished this little ceremony I created of severing my energy from hers, I got a text from her for the first time since we had last talked months and months ago, nearly a year, maybe like 8 months. And it was, it said, "Here is the ticket that you bought for me for that show back. I'm not going, so I'm giving it back to you." And it was like, I finished the ceremony, I stood up, and then ding, my phone went off. And this object, this gift that I had given her, was returned to me. And symbolically, there was no more debt or connection. Amazing.
Wow.
Sync right there. That's actually something we didn't get into, is the manipulators and gifts. Anyway.
Gebo. Murky Gebo.
Well, yeah, I just realized that, made that connection.
Yeah. Yeah, like the love bombing, right? Yeah. Yeah,
So
wow, that's great. That's a crazy story. Energy's so real, man. That's wild. That's so wild.
Energy's so real. It's so real. I totally agree. Hey, so Nick, you're in, buddy. And I'm going to unmute you now. So here you go. What's up, my man? Oh, we can kind of hear an echo back.
Oh, yeah. Let me turn my speaker off.
Turn your speaker off.
I just told my friend to remind me that before I got on, and I forgot.
Hi, Nick. Nice to meet you.
You too, Caleb.
Nick's got his own awesome show, the C3 Cult.
Yeah,
why don't you plug it? Plug yourself, buddy. Now that you're here, just start with plugs. Just go crazy.
Plugs. I'm the king of plugs. The cult. This is the only cult on the planet that wants you to think for yourself and not drink any of our Kool-Aid and call us out on our bullshit and go your own way. Come join the Common Sense Cult on Telegram. C3 Cult. The water's fine.
Yeah, I'll drop a link to your little cult there. And you do podcasts too, some interesting stuff. Alan said the gift of a free puppy brings you joy and added responsibility. So when I was in a later twin flame thing that I believed was that was not the wrong person to be with per se, not a bad person at all, but that I maybe was, you know, trying to develop some unhealthy codependency with to stay in old patterns. Way early in the magnetic.
She wasn't a thought change?
No. Way early in the relationship, I got her a cat, and she was super pissed. Like, not like she was mean, or she didn't act mad, but like later she told me how pissed she was because she's like, "This dude doesn't take me seriously at all. He didn't even ask if I thought we should get a cat."
How dare he get me a cat? It
was like an unconscious behavior to try to attach her to me, you know, through this shared responsibility of a cat. And I realize it now, but like that was me playing the manipulative unconscious role. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bro, that's mature to realize that. That's a deep analysis of yourself.
Oh, she let me know. She helped me realize that.
Well, can't avoid that with it.
So, bro, you got anything that you want to tell us about that may or may not relate to what we've been talking about tonight?
So yeah, just real quick on the subject of twin flames. I had a couple of girls like last summer, I would say, when I started getting myself out there on the internet for the first time in my life to promote the show and stuff. They kind of came into my life and they were eagerly asking, kind of, "Do you think you're my twin flame?" And I remember being like, "I don't know what that is, but almost certainly not." And you probably shouldn't be going up to strange men on the internet, like offering them that position in your life. Because all the good ones are like me, you're gonna say no, you're crazy. But all the fucking bad ones are out there with the fish, like pulling the water, like waiting for you to. Yeah, I'm a twin flame, sure. And you know what I mean? Like you're just setting yourself up for disaster.
Totally.
Yeah, so you set them straight then, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like no, don't confuse me for feelings or something like that. But anyways, like it's just not smart, girl. We're online, we're internet people. You're probably not real to have the stuff you're saying. I probably don't live up to it. You know what I mean? It's just not a good idea.
You know what? I went way back in the day, in like, I don't know, 2008, when I was a freshman in college and playing World of Warcraft 40 hours a week instead of going to classes.
And all sped up on Adderall, beating Oblivion in like a record time.
That was one time, and that was later. I was a senior.
Throwback to last year.
Did I tell that story on Vibrant 1?
Yeah. I just listened to it today when I found it. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was a great story.
Was that on Lighting the Void?
Lighting the Void, that's what yeah.
Okay, I told that story on Lighting the Void. Maybe I have to retell it real quick. Anyway, I saw this online through World of Warcraft. People in the guild were like forming these really weirdly strong bonds, and I think like sending nudes through the forum DMs and all that, and like cybering in game, and cybering,
in-game
by the way,
marriages and stuff.
Cybering is the term for like sexual dirty talk through in-game text chat.
Yo, I don't like to see the sexuality of straight people, gay people, or otherwise flaunted in front of me in public. How about we keep it out the game, people? Let's all play the game.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gotten worse. Haven't been in those MMO worlds for a long time. But it got really crazy, and like people would, whenever the sort of attachment was threatened or ended, I would see these chicks and dudes just go nuts on each other, and like, they blow it up into the group, the guild. Telegram's like a guild.
Even more for you guys.
And then the whole guild would break up because like 5 of the dudes were sexy chatting with the same chick, and then he comes in and he's like, "She's terrible. She's ruining my life." And all the other guys were like, "Wait, she's my online girlfriend." And then it all goes to hell.
I would be like, "Girl, you're a pimp. I give you a lot of credit. You bring all these guys and none of them do." Wow.
Well, think about it, dude. It's fucking World of Warcraft. Like,
one easy pickings, right?
Ratio of girls to guys in that job is probably like 1 in 10. Maybe it's different now.
1 in 10,000.
Especially with Rule 32. Not 32. What is it? There are no girls on the internet? What rule is that?
Rule 32 is different.
32 is there's always 4 and whatever it is.
I like that, and I'll take it one step further. There are no hot girls on the internet. No real hot girls. You can't assume that any of them are like showing you the real picture or nothing, fellas. Catfish all day. Till proven otherwise.
I think that's part of the problem, is that I think that it's a problem how much men or society in general value women on their beauty and attractiveness. I'm not saying
it's young men's downfall, dude. These women are taking them for suckers now, and I give the women all the power in the world. Go for it, these dumbasses. Treating them like pieces of meat.
It's just not good for either side of the party, because I feel like it's just better if we appreciate somebody for who they are and why they're interesting to you first. And you should, obviously you're not going to have a sexual relationship with someone you're not attracted to, but it's psychologically damaging for both people, for one side to be inherently valuable because of an external thing that they possibly even have to put a lot of work into, like 30 minutes in front of the mirror before they go out, or whatever the case may be.
We don't even know what she looks like under that mask of makeup.
But on the other side, it's not good for It's not good for the guy who is valuing something superficial, and it's not good for the girl who's being valued for superficial. And it can go both ways. There are like, bimbo dudes out there, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, that's a
And
side rant.
yeah,
No, it's definitely destructive and degenerative and stupid, and I don't, I would never encourage anybody to get into that situation, either side.
yeah, and not to mention that that kind of behavior is usually rooted in some trauma. And
Good
places
point.
like that are ripe with predators
That's what I
and
was saying about their
predatory
line in the
behavior,
water. Yeah, the predators
right?
go to places like that, just like the Boy Scouts get a lot of child molesters, and
Yeah,
they,
You mean online games?
anywhere that people are vulnerable like
sure.
that and can be, you can hide your identity easily and play a different character. I'd imagine,
Mhm.
Not saying that I'm
Yes.
Rule
a
30.
psychopath
Thanks,
stalker or a
Alan.
weirdo like that, but if I was trying to be,
Rule 30, Alan says. He knows all the rules.
Thanks, Alan. You're the best.
He's the rule keeper.
Alan. Speaking of Alan, quick
We
shout
got a
out.
voicemail from Alan, but I want him to come in for
Oh,
dialogue after the voicemail. So I'm just throwing that out there, buddy.
I love that because, dude, Alan, you said something earlier today in Chance's chat that kind of got me into this show tonight a little bit, and I don't know, it was just really appreciated, man. Out of the blue, just a really nice compliment, and meant a lot to me, dude. Thank you. You're a real
What did
one.
he
Oh yeah,
say?
he praised Nick's content on C3 and shared a link
Aw.
to an episode he found interesting and
Aw.
appreciated Nick for his enthusiasm and positive energy, which
Aw.
are all things I love about Nick too. Ah, it's
We
a
were
love fest here.
Well, thank
That's
you
so
for saying that, guys,
beautiful.
because I get a lot of shit talked on me for this energy and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's nice to hear the other side.
Well, not in the InnerVerse chat where everybody's cool.
That's why I hang out.
Alan's making Sammy's. Maybe we'll get him later. You guys want to hear the voicemail he left for us? Because I've waited.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it. I've waited on purpose.
Our
Please.
first call in. Well, our first
Hey,
voicemail call in.
This is going
this
to be
is
a
cool,
thing, and you
Chance.
can leave voicemails in this Vibrant channel anytime throughout the week. Doesn't have to be on
Dude,
topic to anything,
I
and we'll
like how
play
you
them on the
think,
show.
dude.
It's going to be so fun, everyone.
Great thought. What's this segment going to be called? Chance, let's think of a name for it.
Where do we do call-ins?
Yeah, the voicemail drop.
Hit me with it. You figure it out. I already named it Vibrant. That's a lot
Dude,
of work to come up with
what
one
a
name.
dope name, Chance. You're the wordsmith. I love talking to you, like wordy wise, vibrant. Touche, my friend. Well done.
Yeah, a rant is also like raucous or enthusiastic communication. It doesn't
Oh,
have
my
to
middle
have a
name is
negative.
Rant. Yeah, I know all about ranting.
It doesn't have a negative connotation. Gordy wants to know something that popped on the screen. Looking for the voicemail channel. So many Telegram groups.
We're taking over on Telegram. Fuck Facebook. Fuck YouTube. They're banning us. We don't need them.
All right, so I got it. Pulling it up here, and we need to confirm that it's audible. So after I play it, someone in the chat just say, I can hear Alan, if you can. And,
Yeah, give us
you
a-
guys should be able to hear it too.
Nick, were you in higher side chats years ago with me and Lindsay? Sorry, I'm reading, talking out loud while I read.
All right,
Little-
here goes.
little
We're going
bit.
to try this voicemail from Alan. Comes with an image, maybe related. And here we go. I'm going to mute everyone else while we have it on.
James, did you leave?
All right. Vibe Rent Vibe Rants talking about twin flames and burnouts and the new age bowel movements that are sometimes crystallized in our thoughts. For example, when you say twin flame and I think new age, then I think about the time I went to a new age crystal stone rock shop in Sedona, Arizona, and they were talking about these Atlanteans. And of course, the continent of Atlantis was said to be a literal sinkhole as it sunk beneath the waters. Atlantis, Atlantic Ocean. And there's another hidden continent or lost continent known as MU or Mu or Me or My, or I don't know how to pronounce these lost languages. If you are familiar with the Illuminatus trilogy and all that artwork inspired by some tricksters, some pranksters, guerrilla ontologists who attacked with language, creating an alternate reality using alternate history and playing with the idea of the conspiracy, SEA or SEE or CY. So where am I going with this rant and vibe? Well, I was informed today by an InnerVerse chatter that there is a new variant featuring the hieroglyph logo letters M and U, and the U has a teardrop next to it. Again, maybe that's a blood drop, maybe that's a water droplet, maybe that's a teardrop. And the painful memories of 20 years ago. Add 10 days. Today is 9/1, and in 10 days we will be at 9/1/1. And when you make that call, you hear the sirens as the emergency responders take the call. Ground zero in our New Age belief system may be Atlantis, or it may be the lost continent of Mumu land, and the justified and ancient of Mumu and the KLF explore this in a really fun way.
Well, as usual, Alan, fascinating weaving that he does here. We were talking about in the Weaving Spiders welcome chat quite a bit about the Mu variant, new Mu variant, and what that symbolized. And Alan also provided a lot of insight. I'm muting you again, Nick. You're too fuzzy. Your mic's too hot. Anyway, the recent situation in Afghanistan and what Afghan means in Arabic, and it has to do with a wail of lament or a lamentation. And we talked deep into the night on the recent 1-year anniversary Weaving Spiders Welcome show. I need somebody with a wrench to go drop that in the comments link for others to find. We definitely explored and exhausted that idea of like what is this lamentation? The lamentations in the Bible, the prophet or seer or sorcerer Balaam. Anyway, it seems obvious that when we get this Mu variant, we're probably being signaled, as Alan insinuates here, to subconsciously remember or reignite the feelings and fears of the last time there was a massive social upheaval through a false flag event in the media. It was a much lower level one than the one we see now, which is pretty remarkable to even be able to say that, considering how crazy 9/11 was. And yeah, where it's just it's calling back to that 911 energy. And there's so many polymorphic, synchronistic, linguistic connections to be found when you go into these sinkholes between the sirens of the, calling 911, the police coming, the Masonic red and blue flashing lights on top of the vehicle. They take you to a cage, which is just a cage within a cage, as America itself is a big open air debtor's prison already. And it just goes on. In fact, I was reading about the angelic sailors and UFOs and other similar mythologies in Pierre Sabac's holographic culture. Holographic meaning every point contains all the information of the entire fractal. And as I was doing that, as I was cracking this book open for the first time, someone messaged me that has never reached out before with a strange TikTok video that seems to depict a fisherman on a boat hearing sirens calling and singing out in the ocean, lamenting, according to the caption, a recently detonated big military test experiment bomb out there. So anyway, it's a tangled web. I don't know how to pull the threads together, but it's just to show and to say that this whole Mu variant, which I don't think I need to tell anyone here, is I'm sorry, I used the wrong word. It's a scariant. It's not a variant. Scariant, but it's the same type of jam as what we've already been given with the brain dead Delta variant. Anyway, back to you, Kaylee.
Thanks, Chance. And now for the weather.
Gordon wants to know if you can jump in. Dude, grab the link out of the call-in group.
Yeah.
It is, I'm going to reshare it in there. If you let me know if you need me to direct message you this. But yeah, you can jump in here. Call in, bro. I'll send you the link.
You know what's interesting? As soon as Alan mentioned the calling of 911, I remembered that I just saw a news piece about the hurricane Ida, and how the 911 system in Oregon, I forget where, but the 911 system is down. But that's just a piece of news that just came across my awareness that ties into this. That's interesting. Both the tie-in of water and the number. So.
Hey Nick, can you do a little gain lowering or just definitely mute when you're not on air? But welcome back. Also, I think Gordy's going to jump in. Sorry, say that again.
Is this any better?
Yep, it's all good now. It just was a little hot before. Got to keep that audio quality smooth.
I like your style, man. Condenser microphone. You know.
I'm a dynamic mic guy myself.
You're smart.
Condensers.
That's why I'm too hot.
Yeah. That's the first type of mic I bought. Just for anyone out there, there's two types of microphones. Condenser microphone picks up all directions really sensitively. Great for recording vocals, for singing in a controlled environment. Dynamic mic's more directional and usually has a lot more background non-vocal sound reduction built into it. So the more you know.
Road Dog vocal dynamic microphone is the Shure SM57 or the SM58. They're probably about $100. If you want to invest in one that's gonna do you well and do every job, go for one of those, I'd say. Yep,
that's the trick. Like, you don't need one of these fancy Rode podcaster mics I've got until you're a professional like me.
Although it does.
By the way,
it does
this
sound
was
like
a Christmas
Nick.
present from my mom and dad, just to bring some humility back here. I did not buy this.
Aw, that's sweet. It sounds like Nick's sound is echoing though to me.
Oh, I hear that. Yeah.
Well,
guys, another pro audio tip. I bet my echo cancellation is on, and more often than not, that can cause. Any better now?
Oh. Let me talk and see. Nope, we're all doing it right. Here comes Gordy.
My bad. I don't know what's going on.
I should.
Gordy, you're
Sorry,
up live on Vibe Rant. What is up?
Howdy, gang.
Hi.
There's a light.
Hello again.
Nick, Kaylee. So now I don't even remember what I was gonna talk about.
Well,
what
let
were
me
we talking about?
Let me
Lemuria.
introduce you. Yeah, we're talking about Moo
Lemuria.
and the Moo variants and sirens and all that good stuff.
Oh, right. No, I remember what it was. So the Moloch thing, and so
What about Moloch? Who's
if you
that?
don't mind. So
Bitch.
Balaam Moloch was the demon that was named while Lindsay was on with Phoenix Aurelius maybe 2 years ago. And I remember this distinctly. We were in the chats on Rogueways, and she was doing a live IDF experiment with Phoenix Aurelius. Do you guys know what the IDF is? IDF machines?
No. What is that?
So it's intrinsic data field. And so he's kind of set up this, I think it's based in psionics and kind of reading the ether and
Radionics,
probabilities.
I believe.
Maybe, yeah. I don't understand how it works, but it works, and it was freaky weird. But during that chat, and I want to talk to her about this, and I also want to invite all of you guys. We want to do a live analysis of Metropolis, because the big machine that eats all the people in, and it looks like a demon.
Let's back up.
It's
Metropolis
got a face.
is the original Hollywood transhuman sci-fi, dream scenario. It's an old silent film. I actually haven't seen it. You explain it.
Oh,
more,
you haven't
Gordy.
seen it either? Oh,
No, I just know about it.
Neither.
Oh, see, Lindsay hasn't seen it either. Oh, this is awesome. Fuck yeah. Okay. So, it's from 1927. It's the original kind of transhumanist warning against letting mad doctors create mechanical humans. And
Ooh.
in the story,
Also, some good sneaky pro-communism propaganda in there too for you.
yes, lots
It's a
of
total
communist
package sci-fi
imagery.
social engineering flick.
And yeah, so there's so many layers to it, but I will spill the Moloch thing, because I think it's a big part of what's happening now, is that so all the workers are being rushed into the machine, like all the people you've seen, like it's in the Queen videos. Lots of rock and roll is based on this movie. And as soon as you guys see it, you will see all these different things that that have been repeated over and over again by like every pop star, like dresses like this person, and every mad scientist is based on this one mad scientist. But the machine in that is called Moloch, and they're feeding these people into this machine.
Oh, what a coincidence. Moloch.
And
they cast their children into the fire.
Yeah.
That was an accident. We didn't know what Moloch meant when we wrote that. We don't worship him or nothing.
No. It's a fan. That doesn't exist. You're crazy. Okay, so Lindsay is on with Phoenix, and I don't know why I haven't come back and looked at it, but she asks him about the Bill Gates vax agenda and what kind of evil force is behind Bill Gates' push for vaccines worldwide. and it says Balam Moloch. Like there's a couple of steps in there. I have to go look at it, but there's a couple of steps in there. Lindsay, if you're watching, chime in, please. But
if you ever can find a link to that, we want to just drop that link in this live chat or as a comment on this video or in our Telegram group, something. I want to see that.
Yeah. Let me jump out and I'll drop it in I'll find it and then I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah, that can be later.
Hey, barium and aluminum are often what's found in the chemtrails.
That's what they say.
AL.
Yeah.
I've heard that one.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't even get a proper tinfoil hat anymore either because there's aluminum in the tinfoil and that's a receptor instead of a blocker.
What's the deal with one side being like dull and the other side being shiny? Which side's the good side to reflect outward?
I don't know. I don't think you can trust it.
When you're smoking crack, you want the shiny part to be outward. Don't do that, kids. That's a bad part of my life that I know that about.
Microphone tips and crack tips. Sorry, I had Kaylee muted. I wanted to hear your laughter.
Only on Vibrant, people.
Yeah, I saw a really funny Black Twitter tweet the other day that was like, back in 2010, I could literally sell crack on Twitter, and now I can't even call a bitch fat.
Best meme ever.
Okay, I'm gonna jump.
Censorship
I'm gonna
hurts us
jump
all.
out and I'll drop the link. I'll find it and I'll drop the link.
Gordy, thanks for calling in, man. It's awesome.
You
This
said
is
censorship hurts us all.
great. The first call-in show when we've had 3 callers, 2 and a voicemail. This is really cool. I'm trying to, if you're listening, Ryan, I know you're out probably running or going gifting missions, but drop us a voicemail or, tell us about, let's talk about what's going on with the weather. You're closer over to Arizona than I am, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, Reiki and tech.
Chance,
Yeah.
I see
Exciting
some
to me.
pranks coming in your future, like if you don't pre-screen these voicemails, like farts and stuff, you know what I mean? You just press
Oh,
play
they'll
on
be
there.
pre-screened in general.
Well, they're gonna be pre-screened now, Nick. Thanks.
See, I got you back.
Oh, and I'll be censoring you if you commit any thought crimes.
Hey, it's your
But,
chance
with
to say what
Alan,
you
I
want.
just wanted that element of surprise because he has a suspenseful way of speaking already. And,
He's a great speaker.
oh, yeah, dude.
Masterclass. The suspense.
Yeah, can't wait to read more holographic culture. And, well, to warm up having Pierre Sabak on someday, hopefully. There's a loud motorcycle driving by. I would love to talk about that stuff with Alan because nobody that I know has got quite a grasp on that stuff at all. Like it's such a complicated web, the link between the UFOs and the scriptures and entities and, the whole nine all through one phonetic cabal. Nick, you're still slightly tiny bit hot. I'm hearing that now. And now you're muted, homie.
I keep forgetting to mute in between. I'm the worst at being a host producer ever. Please just keep.
Yeah, what the hell?
I'll get it. You'd think I'd be good at it by now, but that's part of my appeal. That's part of my charm.
Kaylee, what about you? Do you have any dangling chads right now that we've left hanging?
Well, Kaylee, one of the dangling chads I think I heard you just mention a minute ago, based on
Hurricane?
the Lemuria you said, right?
Yeah, just Alan mentioning the 911 thing made me think of a news piece that I saw where the hurricane is right now, leading up to the hurricane actually going into this area. I forget which state, don't remember, but their 911 system got blacked out. So just hearing that, it just popped into my head. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so Ryan says he can't jump in with the call because he's out. He's listening to Vibrant while gifting cell towers overnight.
That's fucking awesome.
Tower busting.
Ladies, snatch him up. That's a
Tower
man
busting
right there.
right now.
That's
Wow.
a man. That's a catch.
Champ. Dude, let's get more people busting towers. And that's a real request. I'm going to get a big package from Mitch real soon and work on the areas closest to me because I selfishly only did my own home so far. And my excuse is like, well, I've told a bunch of other people to start gifting and some of them even have, like Ryan. I'm sure I didn't have to tell him. He's inspired and he understands the technology too. So that's probably why he's so gung-ho about it. And I'm excited to do the same thing because I bet it feels good to actually do something about this stupid, deadly orgone radiation, geoengineering, control grid lameness, right? I mean, we talk a lot, but let's do something.
Dude, Tesla, I've helped people, including myself, cure, what's it called? Ringing in the ears, tinnitus, by doing it's just a simple audio anomaly I learned in school called phase cancellation. So you find out what the frequency is that's humming or pitch, loud squeal. I imagine all waves work this way, including whatever they're shooting out of the 5Gs. And whatever frequency that is, if you flip the phase so that rather than it's going up and down, it's going down and up, the two cancel each other out entirely. It makes no sound. It's gone. So I'm wondering if this works the same way in theory with whatever bullshit they're shooting out of the 5Gs. And if so, we can easily stop them. Just figure out whatever they're shooting out and just flip the phase and send it right back.
I could be wrong, but I think it works more on a rewriting the frequency, not a phase cancellation. But maybe I'm wrong. As I understand it, the orgonite is a scalar wave generator, and EMF fields from artificial sources are highly dissonant fields. They're sporadic. They're not clean and coherent. They're non-natural frequencies. But there seems to be in wave mechanics a phenomenon that coherent waves, that means waves with a consistent, steady harmonic structure, actually cause dissonant waves to match to the coherent waves pattern over time.
Harmony. All waves seek optimal harmony. Like it's another anomaly of audio. It could be total discord, a bunch of random, terrible sounding frequencies together, and over time in the same trapped environment, they become harmonious and they perpetuate each other as one perfect optimal wave. It's crazy. Like
women's moon cycles syncing up because that's a frequency too. Because their frequency is just how many times something happens over time, over a certain amount of time, right? That's all. That's literally all the definition of frequency is a occurrence in a pattern of a time. Frequency and chronos. They go together. Yeah, that's wild though about the canceling out the waves like you're talking about to cure tinnitus. That's very cool.
Dude, I couldn't sleep in a quiet room. I had to have TV on or something because it would literally, I think Van Gogh or somebody killed himself over tinnitus and stuff. It's a terrible, terrible infliction. You can't have silence. And I was reading Tesla talking about phase cancellation, and I had to always deal with it as an audio producer because if you record a snare drum with the mic at the top and on the bottom, you have to flip the phase, otherwise the waves are going to cancel each other out. And rather than get a really full sound like you expect, you actually get no snare at all. And you're like, what the fuck? And so until you learn about phase cancellation, so that's when I started, I could listen to these same frequencies at night and just flip the phase. And over a couple nights of doing that, or a couple weeks, I noticed it was gone. I wouldn't have to listen to it anymore. And I cured myself. So I helped somebody in your group, actually, InnerVerse, a couple early on when I was in there. They were complaining about.
I think that was my friend Brenton. He's my real life friend. He lives like a mile from me.
Dude, he said
he lives one night. Right next door. His apartment is right next door to the Scottish Rite Freemason building here in town. So who knows? Well, he was probably getting some weird vibes off of that.
Get out of there, man.
Seriously.
Put out some earth pipes first, and then get out.
Gift it. Yeah, bust that place, man. It's probably some real weird juju in there. Speaking of secret societies, I was walking through the park that I go to with my dog every day yesterday, and I'd go there for years, right? Like daily. And right near the parking lot, there is a bench that for some reason, something about it, I never looked at it. I've looked at every bench in there and read the memorials and we love you, grandma, and all the things that people pay to have put on a bench and put in the park. This one was the Independent Order of Oddfellows. And it was the Queen City chapter. Yeah, the Oddfellows are more occult than the Masons. They're like the Masons to the Vatican, Everyone knows about the Vatican kind of, but then there's the Masons involved. That's the secret. But then there's the Oddfellows are a layer deeper than that.
Chance, you're a good investigator, man. You know about anything I bring up pretty much. I think I stumbled upon them one time. I told you don't quote me on that, but dude, the fact that they've remained so secret tells me they've got some fucking power,
Yeah, their whole thing was in the. This is what I think they're for. I think that they were involved with the education and organization of and raising of orphans in the previous reset cycle between 1850 and 1900 or so.
The mud floods and all that.
Post mud flood, post whatever happened to the civilization that was here that had all the amazing antiquitech with the cathedrals and the amazing positive frequency devices.
Retraining them, the new generation.
Yeah, the cults brought in a bunch of orphans. They had just look up orphan trains as a thing. A guy in our group, Banjo, even brought up that his grandpa was one of those orphans.
Dude, both of my mom's parents are orphans. That's crazy.
Interesting. So yeah, I think the Oddfellows, their job was more to like do the people work, the charity work. And so once society was set up, they kind of went back in the shadows more, where Masons were originally, you know, they were the ones repurposing and writing historical narratives, things like that and obviously controlling the government side.
But then
they were doing that with the ancient buildings and stuff. Like they're the ones digging it out, literally Freemasonry. They're the ones taking up the Freemasonry. You get it?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. It's all puns with. So then as time shifted, their role was more governmental. Oddfellows, who the hell knows what they're really up to at this point, but I think it all still exists.
Image, it sounds like, and the Oddfellows were like, they went behind the scenes to pull the strings.
Sort of, but yeah, early on, I think they were involved with the orphans. But hey, we got Gordy back. What up, dude?
Hey, buddy.
What brings
I
you
couldn't
to
find
our?
I'm sorry.
Couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it, but I sent Lindsay a message, so we'll see. But you guys are talking about the Oddfellows. Like, if I was going to be in one of those loony groups, I think I'd do that one, because they like have like the kookiest outfits and stuff, like giant smiles and like circus freak stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be the cool
Creepy.
weird group to be in.
The
right?
jester,
Yeah.
the fool.
Bones, 322. They
Carry like a shrunken head on your belt or something,
Maybe that's where I heard
just for
it.
funsies.
Were the Oddfellows related to Bush and them? The Skull and Bones Society?
I can't confirm
Oh,
that.
they're-
Not sure.
They're all related, but I don't think that one in particular.
Okay.
They're all dendrites off the same celestial cephalopod chthonic monster.
All a bunch of names, if you ask me.
Gordy, so
Yes.
while you're here, I wanted to, I guess, maybe you could tell us what's up in Arizona. You know, update on the weather in Arizona. Is the desert becoming an oasis?
Dude, it's ridiculous. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures that I've posted, but like butterflies everywhere. I saw freaking fireflies in my neighborhood. I have never seen fireflies here, ever.
Wow.
This just started occurring this year, this summer?
Nick,
Yeah.
your audio can bump up, but just remember the mute for the echo
Get
location.
better at the mute. Got you.
You good?
Gordy, I think your speakers might be on also, which is not a big deal, but if you want to.
No, he's got
Oh.
AirPods in. He's irradiating that brain like a real American.
I know, totally, right? You gotta make concessions, man.
No compromises, bro.
You know it technically works. You're right.
You know-
Hardcore.
That's right. But you know, maybe get like a tinfoil hat while you do it for sure.
You know what? Got one.
Get a tinfoil hat and join the cult.
Okay, so you know what? I want to talk about Hurricane Ida, Kaylee. You brought that up a little bit, but I noticed someone, I think it was Juliana in the Telegram group, told us that Ida refers to a nadi in Ayurveda. Oh, there's Gordy with the Spiro beanie. That's a stylish one
Yeah,
too.
here.
He's literally got a silver threaded hat right there.
Fuck yeah.
Spiro protection clothing. Protect your brain from microwaves. You can have that
And as
slogan
soon
for
as
free.
Now watch
You know what?
this.
I talked to Landman
let me-
today. He out of the blue, he texted me. He's like, "Dude, you want to go to Gording or you want to go to Gording Man? You want to go to Burning Man right now?" And I was like, "No, but I want to hang out, but I do not want to go to Burning Man. That is some Oddfellows shit for sure." And I'm not like that's
Mhm,
actually
for
linked to
sure.
Oddfellows.
Is it really? Why does that
Creepy.
surprise me? That's
Yeah,
I think it's
spin-off groups of the Oddfellows are involved with creating Burning Man and other similar type fake counterculture movements.
To bring this full circle, they burned Moloch at the fucking what's it called? Bohemian Grove. They burned an effigy of Moloch. So
Oh, you know what? Speaking of the Grove, the bench I found that had the Oddfellows inscription on it that was so bizarre, that was right by where I always park, and I never looked at it before in years. Underneath the bench, like a few feet away, there was a like a tombstone type marker, which is weird. There are no graves in the park, but it looks like a flat tombstone, and it had someone's name on it, and then I can't remember the name, but it was something Grove. And I was like, Grove, what happens in groves? Is there a Bohemian Grove type thing that goes on near where I live, but it's just not, as well known as the Bohemian Alex Jones? I've got the documents one.
They burn and they sacrifice in groves. It seems like that's like where they like to do that shit. So go digging, Chance. I think you might be onto something. Pull that thread.
Dude, Joe in our Telegram group, his brother worked at Bohemian Grove. And he said Colin Powell hit on him and other old men politicians. And they heard, this actually is not funny, that he heard screams coming from the forest at night sometimes.
Creepy.
He wasn't back then awake to any of the, what 220,000 people are now aware of, thanks to the McAfee Afterlife group releasing these crazy leaks. I'm no Q guy, but like what I see there is pretty hardcore.
Dude, he had a dead man switch. He said with certainty, and that guy knew tech. And there's weird stuff going on. Like Robert David Steele is kind of who got me into child trafficking and stuff in 2018, and realized how serious it is. And then he just died suspiciously. And then the same day, McAfee's official Telegram posts a picture of him and David Steele going like this. It's a meme. It says, "We have it all." Something weird's going on, guys. I don't know what.
Dude, I want to believe.
Something weird is going on. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to make any claims.
But here's my problem, guys. I know this is going to sound pessimistic, but hear me out. What if the government is being set up to fail on purpose so that what's next can replace it without needing a war to destroy infrastructure?
You're right, man. That's what I think they're doing. They do.
Dude, we're just getting set up to have, as Crow says, we're just being set up to remove the current municipal corporation masquerading as a government and replace it with like fucking Taco Bell and Amazon and shit.
New world
Yep.
order.
Creepy.
I'm serious. Look, the pattern's already being set. This is something I didn't even see it until 2021 when I realized that all of the draconian bullshit that's coming down the pike is being enforced by employees onto employees through corporate policy, not by any actual laws with teeth, which is training people for the fact that your corporation, where you work, is your god. Feudalism returning to a more obvious degree where you're literally just beholden to your particular lord, and they all are beholden to, the AI, demiurge god, whatever. But definitely it's just a return to feudalism. I see it. It's digital feudalism.
What do we do?
They're gonna-
I've been trying to live with integrity lately for the past year or so and try to do shows and maybe get back without expecting to and not do my real job anymore because I lost it. And I started dying on the vine, guys. I got to be real. So, like, what do we do to actually, you know what I mean? It's a hard spot to be in if you got a job or, I mean, I lost mine, so I kind of.
I think we got to start working together, man. I think that
like
why
what?
we're coming together in these groups online is because there might be someone you're going to meet. Hell, Banjo, the amazing glass blowing genius wizard in the Telegram group, he's moving to Northwest Arkansas. Like, he and I are going to be real life friends. This is possible for you too, Nick. That's just what intuition tells me, is that like, look to find the others in the real space where you can collaborate on this thing and help each other not die on the vine, grow some food, community gardens, get some land, or someone that has land, just be like, yo, can I set up a tent here over the summer so I can live here? And that might mean
Join your local freedom cell.
yeah, join your local freedom cell. That's actually great advice. That might even be a quicker route to finding some help.
Speaking of which, Snake from your group, he has some farmland, and him and I have been talking a lot lately. He's trying to offer people a place like that to go to and set up for, not to be dramatic, but the next stage after if all
Yeah.
burns to the ground.
Dude, shit hits the
Cool.
fan. I would go to
Yeah.
Snake's place. He's actually close to me. I'm going to meet
Yeah.
him at some point anyway. Snake, shout out. Also, he said that his grandfather was an orphan.
Really? Him and I
Yeah.
have a lot in common. We realized a whole lot. That's wild.
Snake is everywhere where shit is happening. In a good way, I mean. Like
Yeah,
the
I
cool
like how
shit.
pro gun he is, man. Me and him will have to blow off some shotguns, shoot some clays out of the air.
All right, I want to get Kaylee or
Protect
Gordy in.
ourselves. I'm not a
So,
I'm refereeing here.
Yeah. Well, I looked up Ida, right? Ida.
Thank you for bringing us
So-
back to that. That's where I wanted to go. I was trying so
You're
hard.
welcome. So I looked up Ida, and it's actually the name of well, there's a couple things here. So Ida Nadi. So same backwards as forward. So interesting. So Ida Nadi is one of the three main nadis or channels of energy in the body. It is a Sanskrit term with Ida meaning comfort and Nada meaning channel or flow. So comfort flow. Also, somebody's mic is not muted or somebody's speakers.
Probably me, dude.
Either.
That's what I was
I'm
saying.
just through
You're
a
killing me.
browser, so it's all
See,
weird.
that's what I
So
was talking about.
So in yogic philosophy and the sister science of Ayurveda, it is believed that keeping the nadis free of blockages promotes the flow of prana. Ida Nadi is also called the Chandra, which is moon, and Nadi because it is connected to lunar energy.
Interesting that also I've been considering like flipping that correspondence to the sun being the feminine and moon being the masculine. Because there's so much that the occult, the exoteric is the inverse of the esoteric, like so many things. And there's certain cultures that have that belief. Snake already made the comment that the moon is masculine in the Rokfin chat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
that's the right brain, though, at least in this particular symbolism. That would be the right brain. And I think it would be a perfect symbol for, repeating. What didn't it come in on the 29th also? August?
The water. Yeah,
Okay,
interesting.
there's Alan didn't even bring up in his voicemail all of the 829 siren synchronicities, but they are off the charts. 829 is a crazy day, and that's also the day that Katrina hit, of course, in the same area. So
what a coincidence.
and what is communism? Communism is a imbalance. Basically, the right and left brain, as I understand it, or at least as it's explained in the occult schools, a person unbalanced on the right brain side towards the right brain side in an unhealthy way becomes submissive, passive, subservient, slave-like mentality, whereas the master mentality is more of a left brain mentality. Master, and anyway, this is I think what's being symbolically conjured with this Hurricane Ida is like this thing, the weather's going to come mess you guys up, and you're going to need our charity to recover. Especially, also don't forget, you got to get your poison dart to be safe from the hurricane.
That's
three now, guys. We're up to 3.
crazy.
2, you're not vaccinated
Yeah.
officially. You gotta get 3.
Wait, there's literally stuff out there that says how to stay safe during the hurricane, and one of the lines of how to stay safe during the hurricane is to get
your vaccine.
Get stabbed. Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay, get this. The next paragraph, right down, says Ida Nadi controls all mental processes as it transports prana to the nervous system, which calms the mind, blah, 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 is associated with introversion, feminine energy, the right side of the brain, and the left side of the body. It's literally
Left-hand path, as they call it. Not to demonize one side. I'm not here to do that, but I'm just talking about like what the sorcerer's intent is in these symbols, because these are hyper sigils. They have, everyone's got their own relationship to them. That's what I mean when I talk about corrupted archetypes within, is, being fooled into the belief that there's a one eye big brother that actually does control your destiny, when really it's that one eye symbolism is you making your inner eye single, becoming.
What's at the center of a hurricane?
That's why you don't have a twin flame. Yeah, the eye, the eye, exactly. Exactly.
Full circle.
So going back to you're talking about the weather and the hurricane. dude, I can't show you how green this is, but it's ridiculous. We even had
In Arizona.
Hey,
Your dog's going
we
bananas.
had. Sorry. But
Important.
it's.
Why isn't it wearing
yeah,
its
I mean,
mask? It can spread cooties. Muzzle that dog.
right?
Dude, watch.
I'm such a
they're gonna
terrible
get
dog
dogs taken
parent.
away for stuff like that soon. Chance, we joke about that, but they'll take you away as a bad owner for not marking up your dog.
They're killing dogs.
Hey, that's killing me though,
They're
Gordy. You
killing
gotta
dogs
go somewhere
Sorry.
where they're not that loud, and then tell us what you're thinking. Sorry, bro, can't do it. Producer call.
There's some demons in Gordy's local environment. That's why the dogs are getting worked up.
Alan says, "Are we seeing eye to eye? Eye to eye, eye to eye."
Oh, Alan, I see what you did there.
An
Unbelievable.
eye for an eye.
Clever motherfucker, you. Ida.
Gordy, get somewhere away from those horrible sounds. I love dogs. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, is that
Just
better?
kidding. Yeah.
So, yeah, the weather's been nuts here. So I'm in southern Arizona, like 30 to 50 miles from the Mexican border on the Santa Rita Mountains, just border our neighborhood right here. And on the other side of that is Mexico. So give you an idea of where I am. But this whole area has been complete drought. Like this area used to be called the Ciénagas, and it was all marshland until they cut off the water to Phoenix, Vegas, and LA and the Colorado River project.
Wait,
so
they're artificial deserts?
There's what?
Yeah, dude, just like
Artificial
hundreds of lakes in the United States are artificial lakes. This is something I've been
Mhm.
researching with Michelle Gibson's stuff. She has recent content talking about there's fucking cities under some of the lakes, dude, that were native cities, whatever,
Well,
reset.
Dude, the reset.
Under
Yeah.
lakes. Dude, Table Rock Lake in Branson, Missouri, right where I live. I sent her a link on this. You can go scuba diving and find stone structures under there. And they buried it only, according to the narrative, in the 50s. I don't know. Maybe someone remembers that. But I wonder what was there besides the little town, ironically named Oasis. Anyway, Gordy, keep at it. Sorry. That's just an interesting point.
That's true. Like this whole area, since I've lived here, I've been in Tucson off and on for my whole life. I was born here, but I lived a bunch of places and come back. But this whole area has never had fireflies. We've never had this kind of butterfly hordes. It's crazy. But I have talked to old timers that said that there used to be lightning bugs around here because of the marshy area. But since they dammed off the Colorado River, we haven't had that. So in my lifetime, this has always been a desert, but it wasn't always a desert.
How quickly things can change.
Yeah.
The earth is a living thing. It's a living body. And a lot of what we're told about, like the environment, on one hand, they're like, yeah, the earth takes a long time for any of these changes to happen. And this desert's been here forever. And like, you have all these historical narratives that don't jive with even the civilization's history that you can look up. It's just nobody questions these things, right? But then on the other hand, they're like, climate change is going to happen tomorrow and kill you, and you'll all be killed tomorrow.
There's pictures of New York Harbor and other places where they show the water line from 100 fucking years ago hasn't rise a visible inch. I mean,
right?
You know what I mean? You would think
it's called homeostasis. Earth is a body and it maintains homeostasis.
Yes, the whole universe does. And just if you're going to say there's climate change to the extent that they're trying to push to make all these changes, show me like an inch of water level change. To start trying to convince me. Like no water level change, I'm not interested. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's just there's such a farce there. You could pick that apart all day. Yeah. I mean that's the next move. Just to like put a point on it is that it goes from cooties lockdowns to climate lockdowns, and it'll be an easy hop skip over there, especially once the Taco Bell takes over, because whatever is going to happen with the Fresh Prince of Smell hair
We're gonna get taxed real hard when Taco Bell takes over with the carbon stuff, dude. A lot of extra carbon going pumping out.
Hey, so on the subject though of the desert getting revitalized, Ryan sent us a voicemail. So we got 2 voicemails. This is like an amazing.
Yay!
Thanks everybody for making. You know what? I would have been cool with it, but if I was like, okay, Collins, let's do it, and there was like 3 people watching the stream and nobody called in, I would have been a little let down, and it would have been a way shorter show. So
Dude,
thanks
in my-
everybody for
in my
participating
experience-
in chat and in calling in. You guys are awesome.
Chance, you will have those letdown streams now and then live, and it's like a disappointment to your like your nerves and stuff. But
No, I'll just go into
it's
shit on
really
my
good.
own, but it is fun to have you call in.
It's way better this way, no doubt. I'm not saying it, but when those come, just fuck it, laugh at them. You know what I mean? Don't get down about them. That'd be my advice.
A lot of times I think that'll be the format, is if I don't have like a Kaylee on deck, to just me do a vibrant on something and then take call-ins, and it's open format. So, you know, some shows might be shorter, some might be longer. We're actually getting to the end of what I wanted to do time-wise here, but here we go with the, we're going to play this from Ryan now. Let me get it all pulled up. All right. And everyone get mute. Kaylee, I'm muting you. No offense. Okay. Sound is on. Screen share go.
Hey fam, I just wanted to say a few things. Butterflies, whoever that was talking about butterflies, 100%. There is so much I could say right now. I've gone out in the garden and taken a look at how quickly stuff we have growing out there has grown, and it's just blowing my mind. Yeah, really, so many things I could say, observations that I've made. Just to kind of back up, though, for me, uh, Chance and Mitch talking about this and being solution oriented made me go, boom, that's exactly what Michael said, Michael Science said last year, I think it was. Just putting all this stuff together, using your hands, tools. I think that was a video that's on YouTube from last year. But yeah, it really stood out to me that Mitch had said we need to be solution oriented, and I was just going through all this information and feeling like my energy is being drained by processing all this information, and like what am I supposed to do about it at the end of the day? So I thought, all right, this is crazy and this is far fetched, but I'm gonna give it a shot and see what happens, and just be really tuned into my environment in all the different ways that I can. And I've been doing that. And like I said, there's a lot of things I could say. First thing, the weather. These things are supposed to move. These towers are supposed to be moving smog and stuff, or clouds. But I've noticed, like where I'm at here in the Pacific Northwest, we have had maybe this summer, maybe 2 or 3 days of a little bit of rain. It's been a drought, you know. But since some of these went in the last couple of weeks, not even really that many. We got rain. Temperature dropped 15 to 20 degrees. I've been mentioning this to some people, but I feel like this is cool to just put it out there like this. I guess I'm just going to keep talking here so you guys can hear some more of what I've observed and just some of my thoughts, because I'm really excited about it. I think it's super empowering, and I think it works most of all. So getting back to just some observations in my environment, you know, I think that they want to destroy life, and that's really what it comes down to, really. And you know, talk about they all day, but ultimately, it's just the destroying life part that happens. Like, yeah, no, we're not going to let that happen. And so, I mean, in the physical sense, I mean, what is it in the environment? It's just straight up the water and the light. And there's so much energetic stuff going on here that I would love to understand all the scalar energy and stuff. And when the time's right, I'm going to be doing my reading on it and finding out. But for right now, just like Mitch says, just gotta get them in the ground, and that's the most important thing. I'll go ahead and leave it there. There's a lot more that I want to say, but I'll just go ahead and leave it there.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for that awesome message. And feel free to bring us another message anytime. Continue telling us about the mission, getting pipes in the ground. It is, I mean, it's really happening in Arizona. Like, you can't go. This is one thing that I believe was really brilliant about the concept of proof that Reich used to talk about in some of his writings, which is that the endless quest to prove something or not to somebody else is impossible and pointless. And it's about you experience it yourself. So it appears from the outside that there's evidence that putting earth pipes in the ground across Arizona by the thousand and busting the deadly orgone radiation off the towers is causing the desert to heal. And whether or not that is provable will require that you, whoever you are, get some earth pipes and experiment with your area and your space. And the more of us that are doing that, the more experiential it will be to each of us individually as to whether or not we think it helps or matters. But what he said there, bro, have you not seen the episodes with Mitch, the orgone donor?
I have, but I would like to be refreshed in just in case.
Okay.
Out there listening, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Good job, co-host Nick. It's cool. You know, I'm trying to wrap this shit up. Okay. Earth pipes are tubes, metal tubes for burying in the ground that are filled, layered with crystal and metal, organic and inorganic, layered in the proper way, the right kind of terminated quartz points. And you bury these in the ground and they create a bubble of scalar wave energy that, as we talked about earlier, with harmony and frequency, the dissonant frequency from which is deadly orgone radiation, DOR. This is dissonant. It's when the ether is agitated into a dissonant cacophony, in a sense, is this metaphorically the same thing as tinnitus. And we can bust that. And there's a lot more to it. Like, what is deadly orgone radiation? What's it actually doing? That we get into deep with Mitch, including Snake. Do you want us to show these awesome pictures in the stream too? Because you sent us some cool pictures and picture of your harvest. We can throw that in there too. I think video call-ins count. Just let me know, Snake, if you want to play it.
Snake's Ranch. Show some pictures from the farm and stuff. Get some people that want to move there. Yeah.
No, but okay, before I kind of got off on the tangent and about Mitch's stuff, which is important. Those episodes are very important, in my opinion. The art party I mentioned is about exactly what Ryan was quoting Tessarion on, which is part of this process of our hero's journey means we need to get active, use our hands, and interact with the stuff of the world, because the hyper-feminized society is literally leading us to, and I don't mean feminized like women are doing it. I mean like on a yin and yang level, the Hurricane Ida, the storm, the imbalance on that naughty is the Illuminati, those naughty illuminists are guiding us to, is about passivity and receptivity in a slave sense. So the opposite of that, the proper usage of engaging the right brain, is instead of migrating into virtual worlds and out of society and away from physical activity in life because our bodies have become so uncomfortable to exist in, thank you, medical mafia, it's to do stuff, make stuff. That's what the art party is really trying to inspire in people. Make things. You know, music is cool too, but like carve something, you know, make something the way that you would make it. It doesn't have to be the way someone else would make it. That's the fun, is you're figuring out the way that you would do it. and engage your creativity, but you're also improving your decisiveness, because a creative person versus an uncreative, or who believes they're not creative, is that you're decisive. You look at the blank canvas and you go, I'm going to do this first and then that. You take one step at a time, or you work backwards from the goal, whichever the case your method might be, but you're just choosing the next choice. Whereas the uncreative person's like, I don't know what to do, right? That's the difference between, that's how your imagination works. No one right now in this particular state of consciousness that we share can probably very easily just pry open their third eye and see a full HD clarity vision of some angelic inspiration, with perfect clarity and memory of all that. Can you imagine some of the artwork you've seen by visionary painters to try to think that they actually saw that entire thing in its exact detail in their mind's eye perfectly before they ever put the paintbrush to the canvas? I can't say one way or the other, but the process was the same as what I'm describing, regardless of how their vision of it took place. And I think that even on the visualization side, people like that are pulling the thing out one piece at a time, one step at a time. They're acting in the world. They're using their hands. They're doing something. So busting towers, earth pipes, painting a painting for the sake of doing it, playing the guitar, getting in your garden like Snake is up to. This is the cure to what is being done through the external in terms of sorcery. It's the last thing they want you doing. That's why they make sure the entertainments are passive and not, infinite, right? And growing. Rant over. That was the vibrant of the night. Boom.
Well, Chance, I want to appreciate it. I appreciate it because it's pushing me to write new stuff. And that's how I'm kind of using this as a challenge, is to like do it on a tool, do it with the big fat 6-string bass or the actual acoustic, like with wood.
Sorry,
all right, you guys want to see
bass clip? I didn't mean to interrupt. That's you. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
thanks,
play
Derek.
Snake's messages to us too.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna
first, I want to ask
out,
Kaylee, do you have any thoughts
Oh.
about my rant? I thought it was pretty good.
You know what, Kaylee? I'm so glad you're in here, dude.
Keeping it from being a sausage fest. I've got you muted, I think. Sorry, girl. Start over.
Chance, you're killing me. No,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you're welcome. But there are no girls on the internet, so remember that. But anyway, I was pulling some cards, and it was interesting because they actually tie into what you were talking about. So I pulled the Rebel. This is the Osho Zen Tarot, by the way. So this is the Emperor, and as you can see, he has broken some chains because he knows who he is. He's aware of who he is. He's lit a creative spiritual fire and is ready to fly into the world. And people don't they don't try to stop him, or if they do, they're not able to because he knows who he is and he is whole in and of himself. They came out with the 4 of fire, or participation, which is what we're doing right now. We're coming together and there's 4 of us on screen right now, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, we're coming together to spark our creative juices to build something together. It's also kind of a card of celebration as well. And then the other thing that came out that I thought was neat, because it sort of reflects back to the earlier conversation about twin flames and that type of thing. It's called compromise. Is the 6 of rainbows, which is the 6 of discs. Compromise is talking about if you're going to compromise your morals or your values or anything like that, it's advising against that, because that's how you come further away from who you are as the rebel, or as the person who is aware of themselves and is fully expressing of themselves.
Right on. I love it. I love live divination. That's what I'm talking about. Let me get everybody
Right.
back here. Crazy
Wow,
Fox just dropped.
cool.
I don't want to like pull us away from responding to the read, so let's immediately do that. But I want to just throw in a cool comment from Crazy Fox. When I water fasted and removed toxins, my visualization ability increased tenfold. When I went back to eating junk and lazy, it went away. And he also said if he eats a regular person diet, his brain can't visualize no matter how hard I try. I think that I can verify that to a degree because the clearest out of body experience I ever had was at the end of a fast I was on. So out of body experience is the ultimate visualization. Gordy,
I
go.
can confirm that, man. I think that's part of alchemy, purifying your system. We don't change and grow unless we really purify it. Like things really change, and like your eyes are open to a lot of amazing things when that happens.
So Kaylee, what are the 3 cards again in order, name-wise?
Participation is the 4 of fire, or the 4 of wands. The rebel, which is the emperor. And the six of rainbows, which is the 6 of discs, which is compromise, it's titled.
That's just cool because the last time I did a read for the Telegram group was a couple days ago, and I pulled a 4 of wands in that. Yeah, interesting. It is kind of a compromise card, but you could, like, in the context of the read for both this and that one, it was still like, only compromise where it serves your higher purpose, not just compromise for the sake of it, but there might be some of that in there. All right, I'm pulling snake. Pulling snakes vegetables onto the screen. He sent us a video, guys. This is a video voicemail. So here we go.
Ryan ain't kidding about the garden, man. Look at that.
So you've been putting Oregon in the garden
too.
Oh man, those are nice looking.
These are Amish paste. They're massive. Whoops.
That's awesome, Snake. So he's using the Reichian tech on his farm.
Beautiful.
Here's Snake with his prize plant right here. Cool.
Hey.
I like that we can get pictures and videos too, guys. This is the future.
That's so cool. Have you seen his baby chickens?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he shared those the other day.
That's really cool.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, you guys, this has been really fun. You guys want to go around the horn and share some wrap-up thoughts? I was intended for 2 hours, so I'm going to hold myself close to that.
You're up, man. Go ahead.
No, we'll go clockwise. Kaylee first.
It's hard to.
I'm the boss.
Yeah, do Kaylee first.
Gordy can go. I'm just kidding. Counterclockwise. Reverse it.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go now because now y'all are quiet. Okay, wrap up thoughts. Stay true to yourself. Trust your inner guide. Love yourself. That's all. That's all I got.
Can't go wrong.
Right?
It's a never-ending set of lessons to even intend to practice those principles. They are themselves the path, not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
Nick.
Just keep it simple. Keep your common sense. Keep your community, and keep having fun. Keep it light. Make sure you laugh. Don't forget to laugh in these crazy times. It's important.
Dude, big reason of why Vibrant is a thing is for the lulls. And last week was actually hilarious. Like, especially hilarious. I don't know if you guys caught that. I think Gordy was definitely there.
I'm going to go watch that.
Oh, yeah, me and Jazz. There were no call-ins, but Jazz was wild enough for many people.
Nice.
All right, Gordy, what's up, bro?
The laughs are a big thing, man. Like, keeping it light. Like, looking for the good right now. Oh, my God. Guys, we need to focus on give our fucks to magical shit is how the article I posted about being unfuckwithable was about. Like giving your fucks to magical shit changes your life. Like I found that article, Claude Fury shared that with me like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3. And it was right when I was getting out of rehab. Like when you don't have anything else, like you rely on your friends and your humor and singing. You sing yourself back into your joy. And when you're making your food, like sing to your food, make it a joyful experience, because you're doing alchemy on yourself by eating healthy like that. You're doing alchemy by making your own food, and it makes a difference in here and how you think. Like Crazy Fox was saying about that mental fog and stuff, that's a real thing. And
Brain fog isn't just keeping you from thinking straight and focusing. It's literally like a foggy day where you can't see as far in terms of your imagination portal, perception window.
Yep, you can't see, and you separate too. You don't know what you're feeling. They do that to keep you away from your feelings. And this is why our food has been poisoned for generations. Like all this stuff coming up to, I think right now, because I really think we're in a Tower of Babel story. Like it's going to crumble. Like civilization itself is like really going to take a dive. And we're watching it play out, man. It's amazing. And I am just grateful that I have like crazy people like you to share that with, because nobody else is fucking listening. I appreciate you guys.
This, what we're doing right here, heals the fractal. Not even kidding. It's part of the process. Alan, I want actually, before I share Alan's last thought from the Telegram, he sent us a photo that was appropriate. I have something to admit to here on this visualization thing and talking about the art party thing. Part of why I started the side group for art accountability contest with prizes was because I'm trying to get back to consistency. And I have been for a little while now. And that's what inspired me to like also share that with the group and stuff along those lines and make this little inspirational circle that we just began that people should jump into. Because if they want to go to a judgment-free zone to help heal their inner critic and get them into a positive daily practice that balances their hemispheres, I'm hopefully not underselling it, the importance of this in my mind. But I used to go around telling people that your health and your creative output and potential are tied together, and that the healthier you get yourself, the more you'll advance in your creativity. And while I don't think that's untrue, I was looking at it only one directionally. So I still think it's true. I would ask artists this all the time. Like, did you notice the more you work on your health and purifying your temple, as Gordy put it, the further you can go in your art? And yeah, they'd always say, yeah, but now I've realized that I had hit a stuck point in both, and I started getting unstuck in health challenges and habits and all that by getting back to making art instead of the other way around. It goes both ways. The more art you make, perhaps the more, because of that brain balancing effect, maybe, I think that it will lead you to healthier behavior in general. This is what I think. This, like, if I'm starting a cult too, that will be the cult teaching. Make art. Speaking of artists with cults, Alan sent, man, that was a good segue. I'm such a pro. Alan sent this over though.
You're our cult. You're not starting your own cult, dude. Come on.
We'll all have our own cult of one. Alan flipped his calendar today for September 1st. Going along with what I talked about with this being a time of year for this twin flame thing to seem to happen. I think it's because you're moving from the highly active summer energy into the more balanced masculine and feminine energy of autumn. This is coming from a high place and meeting balance in a way. I don't know. The masculine definitely starts going after chasing the feminine. That's kind of what the fall is metaphorically. So Alan
Libra
sent
season
this.
starts partway through this month too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some Libra homies. But this is Alex Gray right here, kind of a actual cult leader. Weird, in my opinion, social engineering tool, but also pretty good artist. They can be, you know, the Beatles still make good music, even though they're Tavistokian. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that's a cool sync, Alan. Thanks for sharing that. That you've flipped your calendar and it's a twin flame artwork for September 1st today. That's a nice sync. Real nice. Real good. All right. I think I'm going through the group. I think that's all the call-ins and stuff.
Nice.
We've all done
This
it.
was fun. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank all of you. I love you guys. And everyone for joining in.
Love
Crazy
you too,
Fox.
Chance. Thanks for doing this.
Cody, I didn't give you a shout out yet. Cody, what's up? Thank you for being in here. Alan, of course. Thank you for everything. Snake Jones, Ryan, probably other people. All-star cast. Matoki Shaylee. It's a hard one. Sorry. It's tough. Come call in and tell me how to pronounce it next time.
Nice job.
And
Good job. You got through it.
all right, we're out of here. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna play the intro 2-minute segment for the outro, just because I made this today. I didn't make the music. Music is by Wisdom Traders. One word. You can find the link in the show notes. He's my friend from in town. Awesome friend, lifelong friend since high school. And yeah, so enjoy the graphics I made today during my make art session for Vibrant. And thanks for tuning in to my new show. I think it's going really well. It's materializing exactly as I imagined. Gordy, Kaylee, Nick,
That's
love
fun.
you.
Love you guys.
Love you
Love
guys.
you, Chance. Thanks for doing it.
Oh yeah, and people listening back later, Telegram, join our group, join us, and call in next time. You know, if you're catching the playback sometime later, the way that you stay really abreast of what's going on around here is through the Telegram group. Is my best way to talk to everybody. And keep in mind, I'm planning to do Vibrant 8 p.m. Central on Wednesdays, so there will be a set time, unlike the main show, which happens whenever I get it done. And okay, well, one last comment.
Hey.
Read one last comment. Peace out, y'all.
Gordy,
Gordy,
one more
go
thing,
ahead.
Chance. Hey, can I plug my Instagram? Because
Unplug spiders and everybody do your plugs right now. I demand it in opposite order from before. So counterclockwise this time.
so
spiders too. Don't forget to plug spiders.
Yes, Weaving Spiders welcome. Go there, follow us, get in the Telegram, please. We have bitching conversations in there. Wonderful people. So
I'm an honorary co-host now.
You're the fam, dude. This is fam. Go watch my video I posted on Instagram. My handle is Gordy_TWO_shoes. And I watched a roadrunner catch butterflies today in flowers. It was the most ridiculous thing. I'm telling you, the desert is going crazy with life. It's beautiful. Thank you. Weaving Spiders.
Weaving Spiders welcome is unlike anything you will ever find online. I'll tell you that. It's serious business and hilarious. You get a lot more of Alan in that, which is also fun. And Barsky and James Maiden and
Barsky's back.
Sean jumps in. Barsky's gonna be back soon. There's like a whole cast to get into there. Okay. All right, Nick. Plugs. C3 Cult. I'm trying to find your YouTube to drop a link in the chat here.
Fuck YouTube, man. They banned me for so long that I just I stopped putting content on there. But
Oh, you're not doing it anymore. Okay. Well, give us a good link for C3 Cult, bro, in the YouTube. I think you got a wrench.
First of all, pill.net is my friend's platform, a free speech, anti-data mining, no censorship platform. And I rep them and I'm on there. You can find us under Common Sense Cult. And it's C3 because cents is spelled like dollars and cents, CENTS. But you can find us basically on there, Telegram, Instagram. and Quora, which is my kind of, I like that group because you get to write and be intellectual. But all of those are if you follow at C3 Cult, CULT. So come join the cult, people. We're recruiting.
Up your pilled profile in
Your
there.
mask in our cult. In fact, that's our rule. You can't have a mask.
The no mask
Like no
cult.
cult you've ever seen.
And Kaylee, I know you got a YouTube channel. Is there anything you want to tell us about that, and anything that you might, how people can connect with you and do stuff with you?
Yes. So yeah, I have YouTube. Kaylee Burkana. You can search that. And actually, I'm on a few different platforms. I'm on Gab because censorship free. I like it over there. You could find me in the Telegram. I don't have a channel on Telegram. I just hang out, so you can message me. And I do have an Odyssey and a Rumble account, but I haven't been posting to them lately because my tech has been broken. So yeah, I'm around.
Spell your last name. I'm looking up your YouTube video.
Burkana is Berkana.
Cool.
I dropped her YouTube's in the link too. Get in there.
Thanks.
Lots more runes and energy reading type stuff in there. Hope to see you creating more content. You definitely got the right stuff. All you do. Okay. All right. Outro music time. We're for real ending. I always do this. I like 3 false endings. Aries Sun.
Chance real quick.
I'm always jumping to the next thing.
I think I
What's
can
that,
speak for all of
Nick?
us. You're the man, dude. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that. I really appreciate what you do, the friend you are, the shit you're trying to do in this world, and the ally, frankly, dare I say, that I feel I have in you. So
Takes one to know one. Thank you.
bro. For
That
sure.
means a lot. It's really cool to have the fam.
Agreed. Thanks for saying that,
Seriously.
Nick.
My heart's like overflowing with love right now, you guys.
Vibing. We ranted. Now we vibing.
Cue us out, baby.
All right. We out. Peace.